Hello and welcome to another episode of Curl Up with Cathy. I'm in my treehouse today because even though it's a bit grim, I decided to just get out of the house for a few minutes. You know what it's like, you just need to get out sometimes, don't you? Anyway, I'm delighted to say that my guest today is Sunday Times best-selling author of all sorts of books, Heidi Swain. I'm delighted to welcome you to the treehouse. Hello.
Hello, thank you so much for inviting me.
That's quite all right. Where are you sitting now? I can see
I
there's some...
yeah, I'm in my bedroom. I'm editing in here at the moment, so everything is all sort of set up in my bedroom at the desk at the end of my bed, so I don't have to go
Oh.
far between waking and working.
No, so when I'm editing, I must admit, well, certainly proofreading, I sometimes feel like nodding off. Are you ever tempted to just like crawl across and have a little nap?
Yeah, well, I've got my back to the bed. That kind of
Yeah.
helps, so I can sort of pretend it's not there. So it's not too bad.
Oh.
But I have found out that I might be proofreading on screen for the Christmas
Ooh.
book. I'm not too keen on that. I think I might have to print the whole thing out on paper because I'd rather have the final read through on paper in front of me, to be honest.
That's what I'm just finishing my proofread today, and I've printed mine out at home
Yeah,
because I think it feels very different. And you can follow your finger. I tend to follow my finger along the words, and I read
yeah.
out loud. So yeah, I'm with you there, definitely.
I think I think I'm going to have to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
it might have changed by the end of. I think we're looking at the end of June, but I tend to have a postcard or a bookmark, and then I run that along the page to hide the rest of the text.
Mm.
Um, that usually sort of works for me, but there's sort of only a limited amount of time that you can do it. Do you find that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I try to do it in 3 chapters at a time stints,
yeah,
and
that's the
then
same with me.
after that, I find that my eyes are skipping over the words. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's so
need a
hard, and
break.
readers are very quick to point out little spelling mistakes and everything, and we are human.
Yeah,
And even though there are
yeah.
several sets of eyes going over it,
It always amazes
sometimes,
me that things sort of slip through even to the proofreading stage, to be honest,
yeah,
because as you say, there are so many pairs of eyes on it, then you think
yeah,
everything's picked up by that point, but sometimes things just are just there, aren't they?
yeah, yeah,
A missing question mark or, a speech mark in the wrong place.
exactly, yeah. And sometimes I'm just reading through, and I think I don't need that adjective. Just
Yeah,
strike it through. So I will actually
yeah,
make last minute changes as well,
yeah,
to
I will
help
make a
it.
few too. Nothing too
Yeah.
drastic. I don't think I
No,
could get
no.
away with that. But if you
Nothing
want to
to,
be doing it at that point, the book's not ready, I guess, is it?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about your recent book that's came out on the 16th of April, which was
Yeah,
last month, as I
yeah,
previously, when we were chatting, got that completely mixed up. So this one is The Secret Seaside Escape.
that's it.
Looks very summary. Tell us a little bit about it, Heidi.
Well, this is quite an exciting departure for me because this is a brand new setting. It's Weymouth on the Norfolk coast. All of my other books have either been set in Wimbridge in the Fens or in Nightingale Square in Norwich. And I just felt that Tess's story, it didn't fit either of those settings. So I wanted to take her somewhere new, somewhere different. And Weymouth as a coastal resort was mentioned in my last summer book, Poppy's Recipe for Life, and the place kind of stuck in my head. And so we decided that we would head to the seaside, have some fun this summer at the seaside, which has turned out to be quite fortuitous because we're all in lockdown and nobody can really get there. So
No.
that's worked really well. And I've already had people saying to me, is this going to be the start of a new series? Is this going to be a third series? And I think there's definitely going to be another book coming. I've already got an idea for the second book. So, never say never. We might end up with 5 or 6 set in Weymouth at this rate.
Yeah. So the first one was Winbridge, first series,
Yeah,
Winbridge.
yeah.
And then this is Winmouth.
And this is Weymouth. Yeah.
You like your wins?
I like my wins. Well, you see, the River Wyn runs through the centre of Wimbridge.
Oh, I
And
see.
so at the coast, it's the mouth of that river that comes inland. So yeah, Weymouth.
Oh, very clever. I see. So this is there any characters in this book that have been in previous books?
No, do you know? No, everybody's new. There are there are connections. There are always connections, but nobody pops up in this book who has featured in another title, which is quite unusual for me. And that's
Mm,
been really interesting to create a whole new cast of characters.
yeah. Mm. So your Christmas book, remind me of the title.
That's going to
The
be
one,
called The Winter Garden.
The Winter Garden. And is that winter with a Y or winter with an I?
With an I.
Ah, okay. So is that going to be part of a setting that you've visited before?
Yeah, this is the first Christmas we're going to be spending in Norwich in Nightingale Square.
Oh, okay.
I had a look at the list when it came to time to think about new contracts and things, and I realised that the last 4 trips that we'd had to Wimbridge had all been festive titles. So we haven't been to Wimbridge in the summer for a while, so that's something I'm kind of thinking about looking at. And I wanted a new place to go for Christmas, and Nightingale Square seemed like the logical place, really, rather than setting another one in Wimmer straight away. So we've got new characters coming into the Growell Garden and working at the Victorian Mansion, which is called Prosperous Place. And yeah, so it's a whole new story, lots of familiar characters, but the central two are brand new additions, which is really, really exciting.
Mm, mm. So you're in Norfolk, aren't you,
Yeah, South Norfolk.
yourself? Are you near the coast?
No, not really. Probably just under an hour away, I would say, and that's heading more towards the Suffolk coast, Lowestoft, Southwold, that sort of way. A little bit further on to go north to Wells and Cromer.
Mm. Oh, I love Cromer.
It's fab, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm really missing it. We go quite a lot at this time of year, so it's been, and especially with the Seaside book out, I had some great promo pics in my head,
Yeah,
photographs
yeah,
taken on the pier and everything, but not to
yeah.
be, not yet anyway.
No. Oh, so Norfolk is a lot. Most of your books are set in Norfolk, aren't they?
Well, Wimbridge is sort of Cambridgeshire border. That's more
Oh, is
Fenland.
it?
And then Norwich obviously is in Norfolk and Weymouth is in Norfolk. But yeah, they're all set in East Anglia so far.
Yeah. Is that where you're from yourself?
Yes,
Born and
Cambridgeshire,
bred?
Norfolk border was sort of where I grew up. Then had a few years travelling around with university and first jobs up to Scotland and down to Dorset, and then settled back in Norfolk. Getting on for 20 years ago now.
Oh, wow. And tell us a little bit about the premise of we've talked about the setting, but tell us about the premise of the Secret Seaside Escape. What happens? What's it about?
Okay, well, the book is the main character in the book is a young woman called Tess, and she works for her father, and she's burnt out. She really, really needs a rest and a break. She recently lost her mother. She's just found out this a family secret that she thinks she knows everything about, but of course she doesn't, because otherwise we wouldn't have a book. And she decides that in all the places in the world, she's been happiest in Weymouth. She had wonderful memories of idyllic childhood holidays in Weymouth, and so that's where she heads back to. She goes back to a little cottage called Crow's Nest Cottage, which is somewhere she always fantasized about holidaying in when she was a child. And she meets lots of characters there. We've got people in the pub and working in the cafe, and some local farmers, and they're kind of people. Some of the people are people who she can remember from childhood holidays. Some she has never met before, and she kind of goes there for a bit of a break and to reassess her life, really, what she wants to do next. And think about this secret that she's discovered. But she's not there 5 minutes before she's roped into helping out in the town and laying on all sorts of events and helping people in the cafe. And basically her life is completely transformed while she's there. And she had this idyllic kiss, her first kiss, behind the beach huts. And we've got 2 love interests in this book, and it's kind of a, well, who was it moment. Was it who she thought it was? Was it not who she thought it was? So yeah, so she's got a lot of sorting out to do, and she kind of realizes that maybe the memories that she had aren't quite as she remembers, and so she's not just sorting out her life as an adult, she's going back over lots of things that she thought she knew but that actually were quite different.
Mm, full of intrigue by the sound of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of twists and turns in this one, and I think it's the ending. There's a big twist at the end, and that's really taken people by surprise. So I'm thrilled about that.
Mm. Well, I noticed you've got some lovely reviews on Amazon already, so you've done
Yeah.
really well because it's only been out really 2 or 3 weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I was really surprised. I wondered, having publication day in lockdown, I thought, crikey, how's this going to work? I knew the day itself would be true to form, all day on social media. Um, but I kind of wondered really how the book was going to sell. Were we going to be able to get it out there? What were the reviews going to be like? Would they come in very fast? But I think we're up to about 125 already,
I
and they've
know,
all
it's
been 4 and
amazing.
5 stars. So that's
Yeah,
that's
great.
fantastic. And yeah, it's been really well received. So I'm thrilled. It's always a bit nerve wracking when you start writing a new setting. You have to
Yeah.
kind of think, are people ready for it? My lovely Swainette crew, as they call themselves, they're kind of loyal to Wimbridge and Nightingale Square. So moving felt like a bit of a risk, but it's paid off.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Tell me a little bit about your writing routine. You obviously at the moment you're working in your bedroom, but do you always write at home, or do you go away to write, or do you write with friends? What do you do?
Generally, I mostly write at home. Actually, it kind of changed. I used to be a teaching assistant. I did that for a decade, and I think I was on about book 4 when I decided that I couldn't juggle anymore. I'd had enough of sitting in my car during my lunch hour and getting up at
Mm,
5 o'clock in the morning to write before I went to work. So when I went down the full-time route, then I started writing pretty much at home all the time. I can write when I'm out, but I
yeah.
don't I don't tend to. Um, I like routine and I like my lists and I like to be organised. I'm not a pantser at all. I'm a real plotter.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, my writing routine doesn't really vary and it's pretty much all done at home now.
Yeah. And are you part of, is there a community of writers near where you live? Have you
We
got
have,
people that you get in touch with?
yeah, we've got, because we're a member of the Romantic Novelists Association,
Yeah.
and the Norfolk and Suffolk chapter, the group has grown quite a lot now, and we're all in touch. We're in touch on social media, but we have sort of a private messaging group as well,
Yeah.
which we're using quite a lot at the moment because we also meet up and go out for lunches and things and get together for coffee. And of course, we can't do that at the moment.
No.
So
Oh,
yeah, we're trying to keep body and soul together, as it were, by chatting to
yeah.
each other like you and I are now, really.
Yeah. And obviously Norfolk and Suffolk is quite a big geographical area. Is there somewhere you gravitate to as your centre?
I think Norwich, actually. I love Norwich. I mean, it's a city full of contrasts. It's very modern. It's got an intriguing past. It's vibrant and it's busy. It's a really exciting city. It's wonderful. If you haven't been, Cathy, I can't recommend it strongly enough. It's fabulous. It's got everything you could wish for. Um, so yeah, I love Norwich. Coastwise, I would say Wells next to the sea is my absolute favourite coastal spot. It's beautiful, and like Tess, I've got some gorgeous childhood memories from there too. So
Mm,
yeah, so kind of Wells next to the sea for coast and Norwich for city,
mm.
um, and pretty much anywhere for rural landscape. We've got some lovely woods near us, and my son and I we usually go for a weekly walk in these woods and sort of watch the seasons change and whatever. And we will have gone from daffodils to goodness knows what by the time we can go back again.
Yeah.
That's going to be quite interesting. Looking at the
Yeah.
gaps in my camera roll is going to be really entertaining when we can go
Yeah.
out again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And what do you read when you've got a bit of free time? What sort of things do you like to read? Any good
Generally,
recommendations?
well, I do tend to read in our genre because I write well. But I do like crime. I'm addicted to the Ellie Griffiths, Dr. Ruth Galloway series. I'm
Yeah.
absolutely loving those. And I'm reading them really slowly. I'm trying to eke them out. I didn't mind that I was kind of late to the party with that one because I wanted to sort of eke them out and not get through them too quickly. Um, what else? Trisha Ashley. I'm a huge Trisha Ashley fan. I love her books. I've just read a great debut, a historical debut by Claire Marchant, who is also a Norfolk and Suffolk RNA chapter member. And she's got a book coming out in August called The Secrets of Saffron Hall. And that's stunning. Really, really enjoyed that.
Wow.
Um, What am I reading at the moment? I'm reading a book by Jo Thomas that she kindly signed for me at the RNA conference last year.
Oh,
It's the Cherry Orchard. I think it's Sunset over the Cherry Orchard. It's beautiful, absolutely
yeah.
lovely. So that's what I'm reading at the moment.
She does write amazing description,
Yeah.
doesn't she, of her places abroad, and you really feel like you're with her.
Oh,
Yeah.
and her Twitter feed, I don't know if you're following her on Twitter at the moment, but the
Yeah.
foodie tweets. She's just got my stomach grumbling by about 9 o'clock in the morning. It's not good. It's not doing my waistline any good in lockdown, believe me.
Well, I know that you've probably missed out on quite a few events
Yeah,
surrounding your publication day. It's really sad. Same for me, actually. In March, it's been going on. It seems to be been going on forever, doesn't it?
yeah,
I
it does
completely
feel a bit
lost
like that
track of
now.
time.
Yeah,
But thanks so much for joining me, and I'm really delighted that it's doing so well for you. And good luck with the edits for A Winter Garden.
thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be here.
I'll speak to you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Heidi Swain there talking to us from Norfolk. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll be back again very soon with more of your favourite authors. Bye for now.